into big box stores like Walmart's, Kohl's, Ace Hardware, Home Depot, those kinds of places. So one of the biggest blessings at Just One Dime is we get to be in community with people who have these really amazing skills and experiences that we can learn from. This is something I know very little about. So I'm going to be sitting here just learning a ton today. And Kiwi, brother, thank you for being here, man, and just sharing with people tips and ideas on how to make this happen.
No, it's great. And thank you for letting me join JOD, you know, because that was one thing that was missing from my business was Amazon, you know, because I basically started my business in retail and worked my way backwards. And really what sparked that interest was because I just thought Amazon was a young man's game. Little guys with 15 years.
Little nerds. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm not a nerd. I mean, I'm a contractor. I built construction businesses, you know. Yeah. But one thing I always looked at was, where's my end game? Where's my outcome? I want to see my product on the shelf. I want to see them in retail. So I started working backwards, selling everyone else's products, and then selling everyone else's products on HSN. And that gave me the credibility. Plus, it also gave me the connection because I was offering and helping other people take their businesses into those channels, which then when it came to my turn, the doors just opened up, and it was just amazing on how quick and how simple and how easy everything pretty much went through because of my relationships, you know?
Yeah. I love how you're both selling, you're doing retail and you're doing online. And a lot of people are thinking today, hey, we got to move over to online, which is true. But still, that's still a tiny percentage. Most people still walk into stores, the large majority, and you're bridging that gap, which is awesome. So anyways, guys, thanks for being here. This right here, this conversation is for lifetime members, advanced group only. Our goal is every Friday to bring an expert, a specialist in so you can ask them questions. And for those of you guys who are watching on the private link on YouTube, this isn't for the public, feel free to ask your questions. What I'll do is Danilo is going to lead this interview. As the questions come in, I'll pop in and say, hey, here's a question. And then you can answer those as we go. And then everyone who wants to be here in this video, we can do up to 10 people. That's no problem.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Danilo, the mic is yours, brother.
I got it. Okay, brother, I will start from from where you left. You mentioned HSN.
Yep.
Let's let our people understand what is it that you actually do. What you've been doing the last few years with HSN. Let people understand what is exactly that you do and how they help you with your business, what type of connection you have with them, with the buyers. Yep. And let's start from there, which I think is very important.
Yeah, so HSN, I'm a official TV product host. That means I'm the expert. I come in there when vendors like Black & Decker or Karcher or say some of these big brands, they go to HSN and they say, okay, we want to put a trained official guest host product expert with this product. That's where I come into it because they hire me to come in. Well, even though I work with HSN, I get to get those products if they're in the home improvement or televisions or anything that fits really my niche. I pretty much go on HSN and sell their products for them. And because you've got a great relationship with them, you've got a great relationship with the buyers tend to lean more in your favor because you turn up when you want to, turn up when you need to, you just expand, you help give feedback, you're always creating demos. But HSN has been really, it started as a part-time job because, I had a construction business in the daytime. And then I'm like, okay, well, if I want to move into television or if I want to move into being, into products and industry, I've got to get something that's going to give me the education. And so that's when I started working at HSN at nights. And then from there, it started going into more and more time as you build up your relationship. They found that trust with you. You become more of an in-demand expert, and then that just morphed out. And then once people saw that I was on HSN and I was selling products and companies were making tons and tons of money, then it was like they were using me in infomercials and commercials inside Bunnings in Australia, some places in Europe. I mean, in infomercials, commercials all over the network, And that just opened up the doors, because then the buyers and the retailers saw me as the infomercial guy. They saw me as the host on HSN. And so when I called them up, they're like, what do you have? We're interested. And so it was a good balance of everything inside that, that mechanics on how it works, because it all works on handshakes, eye coordination, and winning formulas every time. When I send an email out to a buyer, they answer it because they know I don't waste their time. This is Kiwi's hot list for this week. And I send an email out every Monday and every Thursday. And they open it because they know it's something that's either been on HSN, I've had my hands in it, I've looked at it, I've tweaked it, and it's been selling, you know, and that's what these guys really, really want. They want winning products that are going to sell.
This is awesome, man. So guys, just to give you some numbers, you know, we focus a lot on Amazon sales and online sales, and the way they have been growing the last few years, which is unbelievable. But just to give you some numbers, guys, 90.9% of all US sales still happen in retail and offline.
Yep.
It means that that is a huge, huge, huge opportunity that online Amazon sellers may be missing if they have a good selling product, for example. Why don't taking, you know, your product to big box stores or TV shopping channels, or for example to online launch pads? So this is, you know, kind of the next level of, you know, selling. Craig, as you mentioned, he did the opposite thing. He started before with retail, and then he went on TV, and then he learned Amazon, and actually he leveraged that, and we're going to talk about this in a few minutes. He leveraged Amazon and the power of, you know, the increase that he had in a 4 or 5 months period of time to actually sell his business for a way higher price. But again, we'll touch base on this in a few minutes. Yeah. Again, just to give you a few more numbers, guys, HSN, for example, last year, they sold $2.5 billion in sales, and they have daily 96 millions of viewers every single day. So they get into 96 millions of houses every single day. And these are huge numbers. They may sound and look smaller than Amazon, but they don't have millions of products like Amazon does. They have a lower amount, a way lower amount of products, and so those 2.5 billion per year are shared among a much lower amount of products. So it's a per product, it's a much higher amount of sales that you can get, for example. And so this is really an opportunity that, you know, we should not miss out. But you mentioned that every Monday and Thursday, which is awesome, you reach out to buyers. Would you actually give us like a few more like, would you explain us how does they work? Like, you reach out to buyers, but what's the process? You say you show them the product, you give them a presentation, they get back to you. For example, if I want to take my product to big box stores, okay, and I want to work with you and try to do that, what would the process be like? How would they work? Just curiosity.
So I'm okay. So I'm at a point with the buyers that I can just send that email out and say, hey, here's a Kiwi's hot list. Here's a couple of items that I'm working on. Here's what's in the mix. And oh, by the way, here's a little bit of data on this, which works hand in hand, because now I know everything that Seth and you have taught me, Danilo. That's so powerful what JOD's taught me, because I can now walk in there and say, here's your customer, here's the demographic, so I can now match that to a better retailer. But let me sort of back up a little bit. The reason I went to retail first was because I didn't know anything about Amazon. So I went to boat shows, I went to trade shows, I went to all these $500 to $600 booth, including your power on the weekends. And I slaved on a Friday, a Saturday, and a Sunday, and I generated sales. I would generate $12,000 in 2 days on a weekend. When you have someone walking around a trade show or boat show or home show, and they're carrying an $8 beer in their hand, your $20 to $30 item, they have to weigh it up. If they want to have 3 beers or buy your product, it's always a harder sell. But because my products flew off the rack, I was able to play with pricing. I was able to do with little bundling. People would come out and say, oh, I give you 2 for 60. I'll give you 3 for 50. I'm like, oh, you know, after a while, you start learning 2 things. What's your product going to be priced at? You're getting also what they want, because they were telling me, oh, hey, why don't you do this? Or, hey, why don't you do that? So each year I was going back to boat shows and increasing different products and testing them how you would test through Amazon. I would then take that number and I'd go to the smallest retailers, like a small surf store locally, and I'd say, hey guys, just want to come in and show you, this is what I did on the weekend with my product. I've got a couple of boxes. Would you mind if I put them in your store? And eventually they would say yes, or some of them would say no, and you just keep going and going and going, like I was selling encyclopedias, right? Eventually I touched so many door handles and spoke with so many buyers that they all knew me. And once the products went in the store and they gave me a chance, they were selling off the rat. So fast forward it now, I can put an email out right now to anyone in 5 to 10 different categories at Bed Bath & Beyond and say, hey, it's Kiwi, what's going on? How's the family? Here's something I'm working on. And they will always answer the email. In fact, some of them even send comments on their friends on my Facebook, which I keep pretty tight. But that's the relationship, because they know you, versus someone just going into retail and saying, hey, I have a product, I want you to buy it. There's a lot of things to it. You know, one, who are you? Do you have a vending license? Can you sell? What are your insurances? And once we sell the product and it does well, can you supply and demand, which is what I built all the way along. So that's why it's a lot easier for me to make that phone call, send that email out and say, hey, this is what I'm working on. What do you think? What are your thoughts? You know, and then send them a couple of samples. And that's pretty much how it works. I've done the hard work already, you know.
This is good, bro. Thank you so much. Let's go just a little bit more in depth into this process. Let's say I'm an Amazon seller, okay? I'm making money. I'm good. I'm selling a very good product on Amazon, have a good idea, good differentiation. I have a good profit margin, because I know that in this business, you need to have a good profit margin. We said around 40–60% profit margin. So you want to go to retail. How long would it take me as an Amazon seller, okay, from, you know, presenting my product to big box stores, potential buyers, TV channels, whatever potential buyers can be, to then taking my product to actually be seen into retail or TV shows? How long would that take? What would those steps be in the middle? What are the difficulties, and, you know, the things that we need to be aware of?
Well, first of all, I can get your product seen instantly. As quick as you send me an email, I put it into a little presentation, boom, it goes straight out to the buyer. So it can be instantly within 10, 15 or an hour. But what I tend to do now is I tend to look at what you have. I know what's selling, I know what's in retail. And so setting it out is the easy part for me, because I can get it seen. But with shopping channels, it's all about, say, if it's a fourth quarter, like fourth quarter item, guys, is something that you would see in, say, TJ Maxx or Ross, you know, the little bin near the undie aisle, you know, or the little Speedo aisle, where it's like $19.99, take it away, or get that for Johnny or Uncle Tim or Uncle Frank, or I'm just going to get that for Danilo and Seth and Sayad, you know, or even Alan, you know, you grab that little pack and you send it off. So if you have a product that's going to be a fourth quarter and you're talking with the retailers in February or whatever, they might say, okay, I think this is a fourth quarter item. Let's maybe do a little test in the next 30 days. So it might take 30 days to send in, do a test, and then they'll position it best into the fourth quarter. But retail, depending on how it works, like, you don't want to go into the buyer at September and October and say, hey, I have the best product for summer. You know, you've got to look at it and say, okay, let's get you where you need to be for sales and numbers. Let's get you testing in some of the stores before that. Then we go into those meetings in September and October, November, and say, hey guys, you guys are going through your buying patterns. And that's what I do really, really well. I understand people's buying patterns, because if you don't understand the buying patterns, you're going to get a lot of no's and a lot of no's, and they're not going to spend too much time telling you. They're not going to say, oh, come back and see. Oh, they'll say, come back and see me, but they're not saying, oh, I'm not buying right now, I've already done my orders. So you have to know when their buying patterns are, which is what I do really, really well. So that's a long question. I'm trying to shorten it in, but that's what I do. I do best. I will be able to position it to a point where, okay, this is what we need to do. We need to get you testing at this, and then we're going to plan for it to be February or fourth quarter or the third quarter, and get into retail. But I pretty much went to a Bed Bath & Beyond, and I basically was emailing them, going back and forth and stuff. And this guy said, look, hey, I'll buy 30 of them. I'm like, okay, there's 6 in a box. It was 5 boxes. So I sent them out to Lake of the Ozarks, to Bed Bath & Beyond. The next day I jumped on a plane. I arrived, I met the FedEx guy at the door, picked them up and walked in, and I said to the guy, here you go. And he's like, what is this? I'm like, I'm Kiwi. He's like, I don't understand. I'm like, you're the first customer who bought my product, and I put all that money to come, and I use my credit card or whatever to come and fly and see you because I'm so happy. And within 2 hours, we were eating barbecue across the street. He told me everything in the product category. He said, I can see this with your brand. I can see that. And, you know, you think I talk a lot. This guy talked my ear off the whole day. But I then, within 30 days, got invited to a corporate retreat where they had hot new products and newcomers. And then that was a no-brainer. I basically went from 6 boxes to 2 to 3 stands inside Bed Bath & Beyond in their summer collection overnight. It went that quick. And then I grew to over 1,200 stores with 5 bays, over 40 to 50 square feet of my product in that retail store. Wow. Free, with a free TV, free signage. And I said, guys, I'll throw in a banner for you. And it was game over at that point. They just love it.
There's a question, Kiwi, on the chat on the YouTube video. Amanda says, are there particular categories of products that we could focus on that big retailers would find more attractive than others? Are there definite, or are there certain also categories that we should stay away from as well that are less likely to be profitable?
I stay away from all the coffee machines and stuff like that, and the vacuum cleaners and all that sort of stuff. Those big ones where you've got, those big categories. Now, here's the thing about Tervis, right? You know how Tervis is such a big company. Even though Tervis is just down the road from me in Sarasota, Florida, I knocked them off 2 of their bays with my product because they had oversold on their cups. They were getting a lot of, they just flooded the market. So there was an opportunity to bring something else in. So you never know. And every buyer has a different budget. Every category has a different budget as well. And every shelf, they talk about dollars per minute on HSN. Well, there's dollars per shelf. So they want to know that your product, if it goes on that middle shelf, that bay might be 4 feet wide, 17 inches deep. That's worth $400 a month. So you want to fill that with over $400 of product. And they want to have a sell-through rate of 20 or 30%, So a lot of that takes into consideration. And so if you go into, let's say a Bed Bath & Beyond, because everyone's been into those stores, I can imagine. That front section for sporting goods, for the beach and pool and stuff is worth a certain amount of money. So they would find products for that category that would be worth that would sell. And then the coffee and the bathware and all those sort of stuff have different categories that have different budgets. So that's where you have to have that communication with the buyer to understand what they're looking at. So when I go into them and say, hey, what's your budget for this category? I think I've got a product. I think it could work well. Do we have enough spot to do a clip on? Can we test it? I know the questions and the answers, just like you, Seth, on what to ask people online. I know what buyers, I know how to answer their questions or ask that question to get that right answer. And that makes it a lot easier to get into those categories. But going back, I try and stay away from the big brands because they just dominate the space. They got more marketing dollars than you. If you want to get your product really seen and out there, you try to get on the front row, or you get into the a little category where you can get 1 or 2 shelves or get a clip on. That's the best way. And then you expand out,
It's really good, man. Brother, I think as an Amazon seller, right? So all my questions are like more Amazon seller oriented. So let's say, okay, now we are able to talk with potential buyers, retailers. We identify like 2, 3 of them, okay? What should I expect next for example, what type of deal, what type of percentage they will want to make on my product. How many units do I need to start at the beginning? How many stores? Like, what's the process in that situation?
So the things to consider is that they're going to ask you, one, who's going to be the vendor? Does it need insurances? What's the packaging like? How big it is? What's the price point? Does it have the 50% margins? But that's where I come into the game. So I basically take a product and I'll say, hey, Brian, take a look at this product, man. This product is kicking butt on Amazon. The packaging is where it needs to be. He has X amount of product in stock. He's moving X amount of products. The margins are there. And oh, by the way, we can do a test store instantly straight away. I know what their test stores are, and their test stores are typically 20 to 20. Everyone says 26, but you can range from 22 to 29, like Bowles in Florida, TJ Maxx, Ross, Burlington's, Home Depot, Lowe's, all those places, they run on 26 stores, because when you think about these retailers, they have, they might have 1,200. Let's say Bed Bath & Beyond has 1,500 stores, right? Not every store takes every single product. There's only 3 in the sporting and boating and outdoor area. So they all start to break down into smaller niches, So they're going to test it into their top, usually their 10%, which is they've got 280 stores that would carry your product. And they put them in 26 to 28 stores. And it's just a small test to see if it sells through. And that's where you do like Wayne Dyer did, you go in there and just buy your book, or hopefully get your friends and family to buy it. Or if it's a great product, and that's the thing, I'm not going to put a product into retail if it's not going to sell. I'm going in there with a winner, baby. And it's going to win, and it's going to make money, because I've got a reputation, and I've got something that I need to live up to you guys at JOD and stuff as well. So it's going to sell. It's going to do great. And then that positioning goes beyond that. But everything is catered. That's the hardest thing about retail, is that one buyer might say, hey, I'm going to put it in 5 racks. One buyer's going to say, oh, I'm just going to do a clip-on. And then some buyers might turn around and say, well, it's not really moving in my store. So then I come in and say, guys, let's put it in a display box and use it as one of your monthly membership, one of your monthly manager specials up front at the kiosk. And they're like, oh, that's a good idea. So knowing the tricks in the trade helps a lot move your product. But but going back to the original, 20 to 30 stores you can go into instantly. And that's a great thing, because that's going to help you with your inventory, your products that are coming in from China or wherever you're getting it made. You can say, okay, I'm gonna go up to the next. So this is what you would do. You'd look at the next level and say, okay, I'm gonna bring in 2,500 products, but I know I sell 1,500 on Amazon. So you have 1,000 left that you would push into retail, which would work perfectly. So you can do it in stages, and test it like you do with Amazon,
That is really cool. You said 26, 28 stores. Are they like all across the US, for example, or in a specific area, in a specific state?
That's something that they'll choose on. Like when I first went into Bed Bath & Beyond, and then it just quickly overnight went to 40 stores, they put them all in Texas. And the hardest store that for me to get into was Florida. And the reason was the buyer in Florida he was 300 pounds. He didn't even like to go anywhere near the water, and I have a water product. So it was, he came from a different background, but once he saw the product, and then it increased and increased and increased. But usually the corporate will make that decision, and they'll put them in those areas where they know that their customer is in. Plus, what I learned with JOD, and what you guys know, guys, with JOD, the first question I'm going to ask you is, where's your demographic? Where are you selling? Where are you shipping all your products? That's going to help me with ammunition going into these retailers and say, hey, by the way, our #1 customer is in Alabama or New York, New Jersey, that area. and they're going to say, oh, that's a great idea. We were thinking about that area anyway. And they might open up different channels and say, let's split it half in Texas, let's split it half in New Jersey, New England, you know. That's their call.
What would you say, just want to throw in a quick question here, because I think it's going to be in a lot of people's minds. So I'm selling on Amazon. I have multiple stores. Selling on eBay, selling on Instagram, have Shopify stores, WordPress stores, e-commerce. And I'm thinking, okay, we're getting this money's constantly coming in. What's the first step? How do I get these products all the way over to Walmart? I mean, just even this morning I was doing a live Instagram video, and was thinking, you're walking through Walmart and you see your product there. For a lot of people, that seems so amazing and far out there and unrealistic. Probably the first thing is, oh, that'd never be me. But everyone started somewhere, right? So what would you say are the first steps someone would need to take in order to make that step? And I know that step is not easy, but if you could just expand on that a little bit.
So the first step I would typically do when I went into Walmart with my product, I basically see Walmart. Each retailer has a different criteria. They don't want the milli vanillis, you know. They want to keep that out of there. They don't want the one-hit wonders, you know. They want to know that you've got product, you've got stock, you're ready to move. So what I did with Walmart is I said to Walmart, hey guys, here's the product. It's selling really good. We're in this, and this. Hey, let's test it on online, because I knew that they would go to online first. So that made it a lot easier. They said, yeah, let's put it online. Well, then they put it online and it sold out, and then automatically they just start putting it in the stores, you know. And that's really how it grew that quick, because they saw the results online. So the first thing I would do is take a product and I'd say, okay, let's get it on Walmart.com, Target.com, BedBathBeyond.com, all these places, West Marine, Bowels.com, all those places, and let them see how it sells, because it doesn't cost them anything. They're making money by just putting it on the website. The downside is they don't do as much advertising as you would do with typically your product. And then it'll just start to drip, and then next thing you know, it's in the Walmart stores. Or sometimes, depending on the product, depending on the niche, it might just go straight in. And I'll talk to both buyers and say, hey, do we want to test this online? Do we want to put this straight in the store? What are you thinking? Do we want to do a test? Do we want to, hey guys, we have this organized. We can do a clip-on if you want. What do you think? And it's knowing the questions to ask them is how it can all be catered. That's why it's such a complex system. But the goal is there's 5 different roads going into retail, and I've proven them, I've done them. Everyone is different, and that's why, you know, you've got to either get experts to do this for you, or you're just going to go round and round in circles like a 3-legged horse. You know it's going to run the track, but it's eventually just going to go round in circles, you know?
Yeah. There's someone else asked a question on the chat. Mitra says, hi, if we have an add-on product on big brands, could you talk to retailers to bundle our products with them?
I don't think they'll do it with the existing vendor. They won't allow that. But what you could do is go in with a complementing product, and that's always been a great value. And I see it with Nespresso, the coffee company. You can only order their little cups online, right, at their website. It's horrible. It's terrible. I go to the mall, I get frustrated. I'm like, you're selling the machines. Where's the coffee? They don't do it. So there was another company that came out, and they sell them in sell them in Bed Bath & Beyond. So if you guys, you can go get them there. They made a substitute, same capsule, not quite exactly, but it fits in the little machines, and they're crushing it because that company didn't want to add that, and that person was able to come in and complement it, you know. But you know, even if you're looking at, say, well, I mean, it all depends, you know. When you have a different add-on, I'll be able to look at an add-on and say, okay, hey, this is really cool. You can do this, you know. And give you a classic example, Tervis, right? Tervis was talking about, you know, their cups and doing all this sort of stuff and all that. Well, then I came out with a sleeve handle that fits on the Tervis cup. We sold it on HSN, and we took it into Bed Bath & Beyond, and it just screamed, which in terms means it went off, because we offered something to complement a high-selling product. And then that went into the front aisle. It was hanging, didn't take up a lot of shelf space. And everyone who bought a Tervis goes, oh, you know what? Hey, we should get one of these. This is great. One of the biggest selling products was that little ropey string handle that we put onto Bed Bath & Beyond. And it was I think it was $9 or $8.99 or something. We sold it at the company that I was working with. We sold it at that. So there is, but you have to like fine line, you know. But Bed Bath & Beyond, they'll put it on a clip next to that product, but there'll be no like mingling, if you know what I mean.
Brother, you share with me, and I'm gonna share this with you guys, that you've been, you know, helping people like Damon John,
Yep.
Kevin Harrington. Would you be that kind to tell us how were you able, and how are you, because I know you keep contact with them, how are you able to do things for them? How do you help them? What they ask you, what they want from you, and yeah, what do you do for them? That would be so awesome.
So how do I word this without getting in trouble?
I know, right?
Okay, so Damon John, Kevin Harrington, I know them really well, and great guys. Kevin Harrington, if you don't know, he was the guy who started As Seen on TV, the original, you know, Ginsu knife, wok, all that sort of stuff. I do his infomercials, and he was the original shark, and then Mark Cuban took his place. Well, a lot of them are experts in their niche, but they're great money makers, they're great inventors, they're great like people movers. They can move people, they can move products, but sometimes they don't always have the right connection. That's probably the best terminology, right? So Damon John calls me and said, hey, Kiwi, I need to get into this retail place, which is, I'll share this with you. I have a big friend connection with Army Navy Exchange. And I tell you, that is the hidden gem of this whole retail is if you can get your product in the Army Navy Exchange, and I spent 3 years in the Army, what do? They duplicate everything. So you get into one store, you go into 35,000 stores across the world. That's how simple. And so he didn't have that connection. He didn't have a connection with Bed Bath & Beyond. I made some introductions, and basically his team came in and we worked together, and basically he started getting some of the products from Shark Tank into those retailers. And then of course, Kevin Harrington, I worked with Kevin Harrington on some other deals as well. And same thing. He didn't have West Marine. He didn't have Bed Bath & Beyond. He didn't have Ace Hardware. And so he's like, Kiwi, I need your hand. I need your help to this is what I'm looking at. So I'd work with the inventor, I'd work with the designer, see what they had. Okay, let's go and set up the meetings and basically open up another channel for them. And once you do that and you show that you hustle and you take phone calls at 3 a.m. from Kevin Harrington or Damon John, they call you. You're on the short list. And plus they knew that I had a product that I'd done really well with and grew it in every retailer, and then recently just sold it. I actually sold it the day I was at JOD.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that in a few moments, but I mean, I'm just blown away by the fact that today, you know, we're here sharing all this knowledge and stories, and I find this so valuable, you know, for the personal growth of each one of us.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, guys. That's what networking is. You know, that's what sharing what I know how to do, and you share what you know how to do, and then we work together and we grow together. I'm getting so excited right now just because, you know, all the things that you're sharing, man. This is awesome. Actually, yeah, let's talk about you and I mean, and your recent experience, okay? But first, let me ask you. We mentioned you started, you know, selling from trade shows, and then you went to retail, and then you understood the power of Amazon, and now it was time for you to actually become a player on Amazon, right? So when did that happen? When did you understand it was time to start selling on Amazon? And how did that benefit your business? For then, you know, we talk about your story with your sold business 2 weeks ago, but yeah, let's start there.
It was huge because I had sort of been watching videos and stuff like that, and I went from watching one person to another person, and then Seth came in, and I was like, something about you, Seth, man. I was just like, this guy is real. This guy is real. And then I started seeing the coaches, Danilo, say out. I'm like, these guys are the real McCoys. This is good. You know what? I'm pulling the trigger. We're going to do this. So I was into it. And once I started using the tools and the toolboxes and everything like that, it really gave me a different perspective, because the first thing I did was looked at my company, and I'm like, I didn't even show up on a Maisel. And I'm like, that's bad. Like, what's going on? Because I was getting all my data from boat shows and trade shows that say, oh, you should make this, you should make that floats, you should do this, you should do that. I'm like, okay, great. And I was basically doing the little test stores. So I started doing data, started doing research, and started going back and forth, back and forth. And then I quickly realized that the life of my product wasn't going to get me to where I wanted to be. And I had grown my retail business from $0 to $6.2 million in 1 year. That's how powerful it was. But I couldn't grow from $100,000 online to $500,000. And I couldn't know why. I was doing Facebook ads. I was trying to do this, but I didn't understand that no one was searching for my product. My keywords were terrible. So I said to my wife, and the reason, one of the things we joined JOD was that I was working 18, 19, 20 hours a week. And my wife would, instead of saying to me, get off the computer, you're working too much, you got to spend time with the family, I brought her into the business and said, let's do something like Amazon. So now she brings me a glass of wine at 1 a.m. and doesn't complain to me, which is great, right? You got to bring those spouses in so you can work longer. And so I looked at the business from an Amazon standpoint, and I got with Danilo, said, thank you, brother. You looked at my images and you were really honest. You said, they look like crap. You got to change them. So I changed my images. I put badges on them. I just changed my lifestyle pitches and changed the keywords, run PPC ads. And I quickly realized that even though I had a keyword that was running at 16,000, I had missed a keyword, which was a word floaty instead of float, because I'm in that industry. And just by changing that, I went from maybe $300 a week to over $1,700 a day on Amazon within 30 days. It went through the roof. And then I was adding coupons on. I was getting excited. I was doing this and this. And so what happened was my manufacturer, my first original manufacturer, came to me and said, hey, we want to buy the business. And so I was able to use, well, their valuation was a lot smaller, a lot thinner. And so I basically said, but hey, look, Amazon, I don't need to sell because we're going to crush it right now. I'm already increased the sales. I mean, I think it was like 8,000 or 9,000. I didn't even think you could have an arrow with 9,000 you had grown your business. I was like, wow, that's, and I was just getting excited. I was looking at test products. I was looking at other products. I was ready to grow. And so they basically came to me $500 less than value. And I said, no, I think I'm good right here because I can just ride this right now and make more money than I ever imagined. And they said, okay. So they raised the price over 500. I think it was $525,000 or $530,000. And I sold the business at JOD that weekend.
At the summit.
Because I had Amazon, I had the data, and I had that smile that I knew that, when that buyer looks at you and goes, I want to buy your business, and they give you a low price, but you know what you can do with the business, that look that you have with each other, he's like, okay, we'll raise the price. Here's the cool thing. They got me to sign a non-compete for 3 years so I wouldn't come in and duplicate the business. And they offered me a $2,500 package to run their Amazon business for them.
Wow. You know what's cool about this, Kiwi and Danilo and everyone? Think about this. He took knowledge. That knowledge on Amazon made him over $500,000. Where did he get the knowledge from? From people like Danilo. Yep. And then now let's go back to the other thing you mentioned. So how do I get into a big box store? I need to know people. Why does Damon John call you? Because you know people, and he needed you because you know people. So what we're talking about is assets, people, time, knowledge, and money, these four things. And usually we're probably overemphasizing one and underemphasizing others when we're running our business, and we have to make sure we have all four of those. So when one person can get you through the door into making millions. That's not an exaggeration. That's just a fact. This is really literally happening in Kiwi's life. The right knowledge through the right people can also do that. This is what we want this community to be about. In our regular community, and this is not in any way to belittle it or look down on it at all. I don't ever want to we're the elite and the special. No, not at all. These are people. But that community is a solid community, an amazing community. But what we want to do is create a higher end, more advanced, more personal, like we're just sitting here talking. I'm literally sitting here in my office, you know, and we're just talking and sharing ideas so we can all improve our businesses, focusing on these 4 assets. And my mind's just like, I'm literally getting chills listening, Kiwi, because I'm keep thinking, oh, there's that asset. Oh, there's that asset. Oh, and I keep hearing those assets come along. Then you grab the asset of knowledge from people. Those are 2 assets. And what does it make you? Money. Over $500,000. That's another asset. That's how we need to run our businesses, everyone. We need to think like this. This is awesome. And Mark and Lucas and Mitra and Amanda, anyone else who's watching right now, feel free to jump in and ask questions. The reason we have this video going is so you guys can, you know, physically be present, and feel free to unmute your mic if you want to jump in with questions.
A few times I had a few questions, but then Danilo has such a good stream of thought that yeah, all my answers have been provided so far. Thank you, Danilo.
Thank you, brother.
One of the things that we haven't touched on is there's a formula to everything, right? You know, like I've written it on my board, you know, the steps that we go through from the launch. So I apply that into the same thing with retail, right? So say, for an example, the product comes in from Amazon, you know, we get it assessed. I can automatically know whether your product is going to go straight into retail or we need to go a little bit of a zigzag. And what I mean a zigzag would be, we get the product, I put it into 2 of the largest retailers that I use online. They're what they call launch pads. And the reason I use them is that one has got 17 million followers a day. They're sort of millennials. And then you got 39 to 59 million viewers a day on another one. Those 2 have always worked really, really well when I'm talking to a buyer. So I'm like, hey guys, we launched this on this website and we launched it on here. Here's some data, here's some feedback. And they say, great, that's awesome. And they typically then say to me, are you going to put this on the network? And I say, yeah, unless you want to take it right now. And if they say, oh, you know what, let's maybe get a little bit more sales, or hey, we could do this next season, or we could do it in 4 months for 4th quarter. I'm like, okay, cool. Meanwhile, we take it to the shopping channel. Now, the shopping channel is going to blow your mind, because you can take a product at $19.99 and sell it on HSN and sell over 950 to 1,000 units in 12 minutes. So take 950 and times it by $19.99, call now. That's how much money you just made. Blows your mind on what you can do. I do the Karcher pressure washer. Have you ever watched one of my videos on HSN? That little pressure washer that I do with the 4 wheels, this patented technology, German technology. By the way, Karcher means clean in German. Fantastic on the way that they run their whole story and their business. I will do over $150,000 in 22 to 26 minutes, depending on the airing. Every single time. And now I had an email this morning for 3 more airings in a couple of weeks. So I have 3 more shows. That's $450,000 these guys are going to earn in one day.
That's unbelievable. We have another question in the chat. Mitra says, how can we as Just One Dime members have access to Kiwi's resources? In other words, which product will qualify to have access to retailers through Kiwi?
So Danilo and I are going to work together on this, right, Danilo?
Yeah. So basically, we're going to leverage Kiwi's expertise and connections and try to give not just, you know, our members. Of course, you're going to start from our family, but potentially imagine like any Amazon seller. And if you have a good product, it can be taken to retail stores. So what we're going to try to do for you guys, we will try to vet your product. We will have service put in place, and we will try to understand and figure out upfront if your product is suitable for retail potentially. It can be presented to buyers, can be sold on TV shows, and then we'll go from there. So we will do that 100%, because guys, this is a potential that we, you know, nobody can is an opportunity that nobody can miss out on. And if you have something selling is doing good, we definitely need to take advantage of these and take advantage of your expertise, rather. So yeah, we'll be coming up with some good content. Seth, I don't know if you want to mention the website already, brother, or
I think we could just start with the the surveys, because the landing page isn't quite ready, but people can still apply. So guys, just so you know, to be totally realistic here, this is like the China sourcing trip. You have to qualify. So if you, Kiwi's offering his service through Just One Dime. So if you go to Danilo's the point man, and say, hey, I want to do this, you'll fill out a survey, you'll have an interview, you have to qualify. Not everyone can qualify, and here's why. There's a lot of people who want to get, their product into Walmart, but it may not be the right product. It may not be the right product category. So it's really, really important. You don't want to just say, hey, I'm going to go do this and then spend a bunch of money and then it sits there, it never gets there, or you spend all this time and it's a waste. So that's why Kiwi is super, super selective and picky, which products are going to go. Because here's the thing, and I hope I'm not speaking too far by saying this, Kiwi's only going to do it if it has a strong chance of succeeding. That's how Kiwi's going to succeed. That's how you're going to succeed. Correct. That way there's built-in risk for Kiwi as well in the Just One Dime big box store team. It's not just like, oh, here, go run with this. Like, there's built-in risk for both sides. So to be realistic, there's a qualification application process you would have to go through to do that. But yes, absolutely 100%. Danilo's the point man for that. So any questions on that, go to Danilo. And Danilo, if you want to share the application link, people can use that to at least find out, okay, what are the first steps if this is something that I want to do?
Okay, we'll do that.
Yeah, my goal is to make you successful, is to make your dreams come alive, to create the riches that you need, So I'm not going to waste your time. We're not going to waste each other's time, because you might have a product that is, maybe it's already been tested that a couple of years ago that we don't know of. They're going to give and say, the buyers might come and say, we tested this, it didn't really work. That's where I come in and say, okay, I get back with you and say, hey, if you change this or you tweak this or we bundle this, we can go back in. I don't just want to look at things and say, you know what, I don't think it's going to work. I'm always a solutionist. I try to find a solution on how we can create it, how we can tweak it, how we can move it. But at the same time, sometimes it's just a product that you might have it's just not going to go anywhere. And I'm not going to waste your time and waste your money. Stay on Amazon and crush it on Amazon, and then let's get going on another product that you can then bring into retail, That's how you want to do it.
What are some of the numbers that you look at? Like you were saying, like 50% margins are a good start. And then what about sales? And what do you guys look at as far as niche wise? Like in that market, how many of those sort of units you're selling and how many of your particular unit are selling? Like what's a good starting point for you?
For retail or for shopping channels? Was your question for retail or shopping channel?
Oh, I just mean like if you were to analyze an Amazon seller's sales or profit margins or anything, like what would the starting point be? You don't want to consider someone for retail that has like 5 sales per day, but you're considering someone that's selling, maybe however so much.
Well, there's 2 ways to look at this. If you have an amazing product that's crushing it and it doesn't have sales, I would then say to you, okay, let's go to these 2 websites. Let's launch you on these 2 websites. You've got the viewers. Let's drive some numbers up, drive some sales up. If that works, if it doesn't, then we say, okay, let's go to plan B. Let's go on to, say, the shopping channels at, say, American Dreams or some sort of launch or Sprouts that we have on QVC and Evine and those other retailers, or those other line, bring it up. So then we go into HSN. But let me bring in this quick story. So we did a product, and this might answer it. We did a product that I was part of with Kevin Harrington and the team, and it was to do with glasses and cleaning. We put it on Facebook. We did, I think it was like $100,000 to $300,000. We went to QVC, went to HSN. They said, no, it's only $14.99. It's not going to work. We said, hey, we'll bundle it up. They said, you know what? It's just, they had their shoes. They had their Tony Little. They had their Joy spin mops. They had the spray and grow. They were just not really interested. So we took it to the 2 launch pads. Boom, $6.5 million. Went back to QVC and said, guys, $6.5 million. Here's your customer. Tell me that your customer is not this 55 to 65-year-old person wanting to pay that. And then at that point, we said to them, guys, test it. Put us on a show, five 500 units, 1,000 units to test it. Well, expand that out. Within 6 months, they've done $14.5 million. And now within a year and a half, it's over $100 million in sales. And we're only in 2 retailers. We haven't even touched some of the big retailers yet. That's the power on knowing how to get the numbers, how to get the sales and get it in there. But sometimes you might just have a product where the retailers say, hey, we want it, we take it in there. But you want to have the sales, you want to have the numbers, because this is what happened to me when I first got a PO from West Marine. It was like $180,000. I mean, I started getting the shakes. I said, I can't fulfill it. I got no money, you know? And you quickly learn how to tweak things and go back to them and say, hey, now I have money. Now I can do it. Or, hey, can we do a test? There's so many different solutions. That's where the experts come into it versus just like not looking at an opportunity in a negative way. It just means, okay, we can't do this now. Let's tweak it here. But that's what I'll do. I'll look at it and say, okay, guys, we got to get a little bit more sales. We got to get a little bit more numbers here. Let's try it here. Let's try it here. Let's try it here. But our outcome is still to get it into retail. Just means we have to do a couple stops along the way. And that's how you do a brand. And so by the time you go to retail, you've got numbers, you've got millions of viewers, you're crushing it on Amazon. And now you have containers coming in, and now you're a better business person. You can fulfill orders that come in, because that's the last thing you want is $250,000 worth of orders, and you're only selling 5 a day. That's where
can I jump in? Can I jump in, Kiwi? I was going to say, I think that's the bit that your expertise as well is going to really help people is with the inventory, because we might be killing it on Amazon and selling really well, but there's no use getting into retail and getting a massive order if we can't fulfill it. So with your expertise, guiding on what sort of inventory levels you're going to need to expect, you get your thing and everything in place to make sure you can go with it.
Yeah. Now, Seth, can I go like lift off? Can I expand into something else here in a second? Because
no problem. And really quick for people in the chat, I'm trying to give you the link, not in the Google Hangouts, but YouTube. Google Hangouts squishes links. It's really weird. So I'm going to fix it in a minute. But yeah, go ahead, man. Absolutely.
So here's another thing. And this is what happened to me. And you can say I've had to zigzag a lot in business. I had that predicament when I grew into Bed Bath & Beyond, West Marine, Ace Hardware and stuff. I couldn't manage it. My retailer said, how are you going to pay us? And I said, can you give me 45 days? Can you give me 60 days? So we both got together and said, look, he's like, you've grown our business. Why don't we do a licensing deal? So I licensed my product back to the manufacturer who had the money, had the insurances, and had everything. And I basically just started getting mailbox money. It was fantastic because they were covering $2 to $3 million a quarter in sales. And now I had that protection and just licensed it. So there's another opportunity as you go through, as you start to expand, is get into licensing. And then, of course, most of the, think about, I licensed my product with CLC. I put licensing on it, NFL, Major League Baseball, all that sort of stuff. And it can just expand. And there's so many different channels that you can go into, But that's one option that's always in the back of my mind. If we can't fulfill the orders and we're expanding too fast, let's look at doing a licensing deal. And I have people that can come in and take your product, put their vending license on it, your name, and just boom, sell it out. And then you get back to Amazon doing what you do best.
When I watch Shark Tank, one of the most interesting things to me is licensing. And at first it seems ridiculous because when people build a product, I'm like, okay, here you go. I license you to sell it. I'm only going to get, a small percentage of that. I don't have to touch it. It's passive income. They're doing all the hard work. If that sells a lot, this is why Kevin O'Leary loves licensing deals too. I think he always talks about it because it's a form of passive income. It's on a bigger scale, on a smaller scale. It's kind of like Amazon. People complain about FBA fees, but wait a minute, they're doing the fulfillment. I don't have to hire people. There was a day when I'll show you guys. We still ship a lot of stuff out. You can see right there.
Yeah.
we would be lined up at that table shipping stuff out to Amazon, eBay, like all day long. Now almost all of it is fulfilled. There's still some things my wife does, arbitrage and stuff. She likes to ship out herself, or if it's for her brand, it's more personal. But like it was crazy. So to have that passive and not have to worry about it, That's one thing that I've always been attracted to. But I can also see why the other models are attracted to, because they get a little more of, you know, a hand in the process.
And here's a little inside secret to licensing, because if you watch any guru on Amazon or Facebook or whoever, they all tell you one thing, right? Stay away from Disney, stay away from licensing products. So what am I in? I'm in the licensing products because no one's in it. Because there's no competition. No, you know, you're going to start getting lawyer suits and all that sort of stuff. So when I can take a product and say, hey guys, let's put the licensing on this. One, Bed Bath & Beyond says we can protect it with licensing. The licensing guy is saying, hey, we can protect the product inside the retail. And it's just magical. But you can get to that level. But if you don't, you don't. But that's the options that we look at. That's how I can say this is perfect. Because there's always going to be people like an Amazon that are going to be coming up behind you. There's always going to be vendors that are going to see you on the shelf and say, hey, we can do something similar. But that's where the protection part comes in, when you're able to go to the next level, increase by doing licensing, protecting it, and just goes beyond that, you know?
I got you. Guys, we do have a few more minutes left. If you have more questions, that would be great. Just to complete what we were mentioning before, we're going to roll out a landing page to explain to you guys all of these in more details and tell exactly what we're going to do, what we're going to be able to do by leveraging Craig's, Kiwi's expertise and connection. So it's going to be way more in depth. What to expect and everything that you need to know in case you are, you know, ready and have a product ready to be brought to retail stores. So they will be up, I think, within today. We will share with you the actual landing page link, and then you can get more information. You can actually download the landing page, sorry, the survey, and start, you know, taking a look at that. If you feel you're ready to get involved, you know, and bring your product to retail, just reach out and we talk about it. The email for this section of Just One Dime, which we are calling Just One Dime Retail, or Just One Dime Big Box Stores, and then we'll figure it out. You can send a message to retail@justonedime.com, and I will personally take care of that and answer you back. And yeah, and then we'll go from there. So it will be rolled out today with all the information that you need. And yeah, so we have 2 minutes left, guys. Seth, do you have any questions on the YouTube chat, brother?
Yeah, I'll just throw in one more question and answer it quickly. Someone said, if our product is not in Amazon yet, but it is new design of an old, really good selling product, or it's totally new in the market, as in like a new invention, could we still talk to Kiwi and Danilo? I almost messed that up. They didn't say that. I said that. Kiwi.
Absolutely. I can give as much advice. I'll even answer some questions throughout the day, Seth, in the Facebook as well.
Awesome. Thank you. So, guys, questions on this? Chat them in the Facebook advanced Facebook group. This is maybe something you guys want to go out and do on your own and figure it out as you go. Do it. If you want to say, hey, I need more help, you can do that as well. But just ask the questions in the group. If you're serious about this, fill out the application that I chatted here and that Danilo chatted on the Google Hangouts. And that's if you're like really serious, you want to do it and at least get more information. They will get back to you, get a phone call, figure out what's going on, and see if this works. This is a big, huge step in your business. If this is a path you decide to take. But thank you tons, Kiwi, for bringing all this information, man. I've been like, this has been really helpful to me personally. Thank you.
No worries. I talk a lot when I get excited.
I can relate.
That's why you see me on television. I'm so excited because I can take a security bar and make $40,000 in 12 minutes.
Right.
It's fantastic. And then you take those numbers and you put them into retail, and they love it.
You know, I got to throw one more question out there because our lady from the land down under, Amanda Holst, has asked, can you help with the Aussie, the AU market as well? And I think she said that because you're from New Zealand, not too far. But what are your thoughts on that, man?
I have a soft spot for the Aussies. Actually, I just did a recent Australian commercial where I had to use a thunder saw made from Australia, made Outback inspired. So I pulled the accent off pretty well. But I don't typically do too much in the New Zealand market, New Zealand and Australian market, only for the fact that they don't have the retail stores that the States have. And I think they're a little behind on how they do things, and I think there's a big price point, a big margin. But the States is where the market is. I just focus here because that's where you can crush it as well. But
Amanda,
there's one girl that's in the group. She has this amazing product. She didn't quite tell me what it is, but I knew the niche she was in. I want to talk with her because I think her product can scream on the shopping channels. I know it's going to scream because I know the categories that scream and sell.
And I want to add this, Amanda, even though you're selling in Australia, you could still, if it's a good product, you could still launch it in the US for the big box. So it doesn't matter where you, that's the beauty of today, is it doesn't matter where you live in the world. Also, Amanda wants you to know that was pretty good. You're crossing opposites.
I do have connections into the Australian shopping channels as well. Plus, so shopping channels, QVC, the UK, Japan, all those different places, and then of course Australia as well. You know, can do so.
One more thought real quick, guys, is I just want to encourage you guys watching this either later or right now, whether or not this is for you right now, think big. Think about, don't just say, hey, I'm going to sell on Amazon. Think, I'm going to sell around the world. Think like that. This is a network of entrepreneurs. Our goal is that together we can help each other grow, build a lot of wealth, give back to people, help people in a way that helps them take the next step. And together, guys, we can do that. There are some incredibly high-end members in this community, and they're not, all talking about it. Like they're pretty quiet. I'm like, come on, share what you know. Like, I know you do really well. Talk about it. So thank you, Kiwi, for being the first guy to step up and to be an example in this way. I just want to encourage you guys, think big. Don't limit yourself. The only limitation you have is what you believe. That's the only limitation you have. There's no reason you can't do it too. So I just want to leave you guys with that.
And take action.
Yes, do something with it. Yeah, believe it. Imagine it, believe it. Now go do it. Take the next step, whatever that looks like. Exactly, Amanda. Always think bigger. Think bigger than you're comfortable with. And guess what? When I moved to Los Angeles, I used to do a talk radio show in Northern California. I moved to Los Angeles, and my mentor in talk radio, he told me, he said, Seth, I'm going to tell you something, and never forget this. He says, if you think big, you will go big. And ever since he told me that, that's what I've always thought is, I always need to ask, how can I make this bigger? How can I grow bigger? And not just big in money, big in my heart, big in my life, big in my marriage, big in my health, right? Big in my muscles. I just had to put that in there.
Talking big, I actually had a coffee date with one of the top guys who sells businesses on Amazon. And I said to him, what do I need to do? Where do I need to get my clients to in order to sell the business? What are you looking for? He told me everything that I need to supply. So then you take that and you reverse engineer it into the system that you want with the end game of selling your business. And there's a difference between 3 times the amount or 5 to 7 times the amount. Right. Ask the right questions from the right people, and it's amazing.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
I think we had one more. You had another question, brother?
I was just going to ask you, what was screaming? You said that there was some, the categories that were that do pretty good, and so I was wondering if you have like a short list.
Yep, I do. And it's anything for a lady who's the HSN customer. And if you watch HSN for a couple of days, you'll get to see like, oh, it's jewelry or it's this and that. The price points are usually $39 to $59, something around there. They're either girls, ladies' shoes, or they're the cooking shows, the pots and pans, or there's cosmetics, and then of course jewelry and jewelry accessories. And then cleaning products, of course, do extremely well. And their customer loves getting that package every day. But here's the great thing about the shopping channels is they have flex pay. So let's say that the Karcher pressure washer selling at $209, but you can order right now with 5 flex pay, which means you only pay 1 payment now, and then the rest of the payments are off. So actually, if you want to buy a TV or buy a computer, buy from the home shopping channels, because I tell you why. You get it for usually $100 less than Best Buy, but you get all the packages and all the bundles and everything in free. And you only get it for like $69 and pay the rest off. Or you can just go for the full amount. You get all the packages together. It's pretty good. So think ladies, you men.
Very cool. Danilo, any last words, brother?
No, guys, I mean, thank you for being here today. I think it was great. I kind of feel like I don't want to leave this conversation right now. I just want to keep talking and sharing knowledge, man. This is just beautiful. I'm looking forward to next Friday's meeting that we're going to have every week now. And actually, there's going to be another one today at 4 p.m. Central.
Yep. Yep.
So
tonight at 4 o'clock. Those of you guys who are different side of the world. Yep. Yes, it was recorded, Mitra. It was recorded. Yes.
Perfect.
Cool. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you for being here, and a wonderful day.
All right. See you guys. Bye.